right, let's get started. Thanks for being here. So, today I want to talk about a concept to make it easier to lose weight, right? Anything we can do that makes it easier. Why wouldn't we do? So, I love my whiteboard. Today I'm bringing out the medium-sized whiteboard. Here's what I want to show you. We can divide interventions that we take for weight loss into 4 categories. So, here, I'm just going to divide this into 4. We can do the easy things with a big impact. We can do the easy things with a small impact. We can do the hard things with a big impact. And we can do the hard things with a small impact, okay? Which of these 4 should we never do? You can say it in the chat if you want. Okay, right, exactly. The hard things with a small impact. Why would we do those things? That's a lot of work for very little weight loss. Those things aren't worth doing. But what I want to invite you to think about today is, am I leaving something on the table that's an easy thing with a big impact? Maybe so. Let's think of an example of that. I recently talked to one of my clients and discovered an easy thing with a big impact that we hadn't addressed. And it fits under the umbrella of what I call rethink your drink. Okay, you've probably heard me talk about this before. Rethink your drink. Why does this matter? Well, first of all, I always say when I drink my water, reach for yours. So as soon as I said drink, I started feeling thirsty. Okay, when we look with a critical eye at, not mean critical, but like curious, like a scientist trying to dissect, how are we going to lose the next 10 pounds or the next 20 pounds? One of the things we should get interested in is what we're drinking. Why? Because that's something that we do day after day after day. And it's almost automatic that when you're looking at something that you do every day, it's going to be in this big impact category, right? If every single day I go to Starbucks and get a bunch of vanilla syrup pumps in my latte, changing that will have a big impact because I do it every day. So I want you to think about, is there something that you're drinking every day that you could potentially change? And hopefully we can find something easy with a big impact. But even if it's something hard with a big impact, that might be worth doing, because something you do every day is worth paying attention to, really digging into and brainstorming around how we can impact it. So the example from my client was someone who was just drinking milk every day with at least a couple of meals. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with milk. Milk isn't some sort of ultra processed, it's not like Diet Mountain Dew every day or some kind of Gatorade with every meal. But drinking milk instead of just plain water with every meal might be an example of something that would have a big impact on weight. Water's just, like a wonderful essential thing to help our body function. And there's no weight penalty to drinking as much water as you want. So why wouldn't we do that? So in the case of my client, simply swapping out water or swapping in water most of the time had a big impact. How about for you? Is there something that you drink every day that you think, I am having a soda once a day, or I'm having a coffee once a day and using French vanilla coffee mate creamer, which, by the way, doesn't have any cream in it and is a giant chemical bomb. So that's an example of a thing that would have a big impact to get that out of your diet. In fact, many people find the first place to look for something that's going to have a big impact with drinks would be coffee. If you're having coffee every single morning, get curious. What's the impact of the way I decorate my coffee? What are you putting in it? Are you putting any sweeteners? Are you putting any creamers? Are you putting any powders? All that stuff might work against you. Oh, good. We have a question or a comment. I love to see the panelists or the attendees turn into panelists. Dina, let's bring you on. Thanks for raising your hand. I am
I
going to.
actually can't get on camera.
Oh, okay. I just made you a panelist, and now there you go. You came on. All right. Great to see you. Hi, Dina.
Hi. I have a comment actually.
Oh,
So about rethinking your drink. My mom recently called me and she ran out of those little fake sugar packets for her coffee.
okay.
And she's like, "Oh, do you have any?" And I said, "I don't use those anymore." I said, "Why don't you just use sugar?" And she's like, "Sugar? I can't use sugar." I'm like, "That would be a better choice than the little packets." And she's like, "All right, I'll give it a try." So I called her a couple days after that and I said, "How's it going with your coffee?" Which she drinks like 3, 4 times a day.
Oh,
And
wow. Big impact.
big impact, big,
Impact,
big.
right?
So she's like, "Oh, I can't, I tried using sugar. I put 4 packs of sugar, regular sugar in my coffee, and it wasn't sweet
Wow.
enough. It wasn't
Oh
sweet
my
enough."
gosh. It wasn't. Wait. I want everyone, in case you drifted off, come on back. I want everyone to hear this. Your mom was drinking coffee with the little pink sweet and
Yeah.
low or whatever that is,
Yes.
packets, ran out. She drinks her coffee with that 4 times a day. She
Hmm.
ran out. She tried regular sugar and it wasn't sweet enough.
Right. I couldn't believe, I mean, for myself, I couldn't believe the highest thing that would be sweet is sugar, and that wasn't sweet enough for her.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for bringing up this example. I would like to just, oh, thank you. I'm going to talk about it for just a moment because I want you to know that these kind of sweeteners are so much more enhanced. The sweetness is enhanced relative to regular table sugar. So some of the research says that these little packets, whether it's Sweet and Low or Equal or Stevia, Truvia, those kind of things, 150 to 200 times sweeter than sugar. And for people watching, if that doesn't ring true to you, do the experiment that just happened with her mom. I mean, that wasn't a purposeful experiment, but she just tried making an even swap. One package of the pink stuff for one package of sugar, and it wasn't sweet enough. She didn't, she couldn't taste the sweetness. That is illuminating to really drive home the point that so many of our foods today boast 0 grams of sugar, right? These low sugar or 0 grams of sugar foods, like some yogurts, for example, some creamers to put in the coffee, they're using these hyper palatable, hyper sweet sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, and even ones that get the label of being more natural, like Truvia or Stevia. These are still that hyper sweetness. You know what happens from those? Your pancreas goes bananas. Your pancreas senses, whoa, all of this sweetness is coming in. What does it do in response to sweetness? It releases insulin because it's the job of the pancreas to secrete insulin in order to help our body utilize whatever sugar is floating around. So the insulin grabs the sugar, knocks on the door of the muscle cells, opens the cell, inserts the sugar. There you go. There's some energy for you. Okay, so the insulin has an important role, but here's the issue. Too much insulin causes weight gain. Insulin is an obesogenic hormone, meaning it's a weight gain hormone. So, of course, we do want our bodies to make some insulin. It's a necessary hormone, but we don't want too much. We don't want more than is necessary to fuel the cells of our body. And so, when the pancreas gets this sense that all this hyper sweetness is coming in. It is pumping out the insulin, perhaps erroneously. Maybe things really, we don't need that much insulin. So I would really encourage anybody listening, if you're looking for your next best action or something easy with a big impact, or maybe it's hard with a big impact, but that should be telling too. It might be time to rethink your drink. Are you drinking something like Diet Coke or Crystal Light or some kind of sweetened beverage, even if it's 0 calories? It's a great time to rethink that. Or maybe you're having the real thing, you're just having regular sugar. Okay, well, a little bit of sugar isn't going to harm us, but we could think of sugar as being somewhat analogous to cigarettes. Hear me out. When people first started learning about the harm of cigarettes, it took some time for us to understand the danger there. But eventually, the science was very clear. Some percentage of people who smoke cigarettes will get lung cancer. Some percentage will get esophageal cancer and bladder cancer and mouth and throat cancer. And some will get emphysema or COPD. So some percentage of people who smoke are going to have bad health outcomes from it. Did we tell people, well, it's only some people who get this and, don't worry about it, just smoke a little bit? No, the public health message was, this is a problem. Let's get rid of smoking. We encourage you to quit smoking. You could take that and apply that thinking to ultra-processed foods, to ultra-processed ingredients, to artificial sweeteners, maybe even to regular old sugar. Although I have a little soft spot for a little bit of added sugar if it's the real deal, used appropriately in an occasional homemade cookie here or there. But why would we want to invite these chemical-laden ultra-processed foods and artificial sweeteners into our homes, into our bodies? And so when you think about your next best action, something with a big impact is to start weeding this stuff out. We know that ultra-processed foods and the artificial sweeteners are often a big part of these ultra-processed foods or drinks. They increase your risk of metabolic syndrome, diabetes, excess weight gain for sure, even dementia. People with the highest rate of ultra-processed foods and drinks have the highest rates of dementia. That is really serious. So let's take a page out of the public health learning that we did with tobacco and recognize, you know what? There is no amount of tobacco that's recommended. We're all better off just not smoking. Similarly, for ultra-processed foods, for artificial sweeteners, one could even argue for sugar. I mean, you take this to whatever extreme you want. But we don't need those things to fuel our body. We don't need those things for life. And those things work against us for weight loss and for our health. All right. We are already at time. I just want to thank everyone. I get so excited. Thank you for listening. I want you to make your next best action looking at your food tracker and figure out, what can you do that's going to have a big impact? It could be something easy. It could be something harder. Rethinking your drink is a great place to start. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Dina, for coming on our call today.